What's going on, everybody? This is Jeff with Living in Arizona, and today we are going to talk about wild animal attacks in Arizona because people are really concerned about this. They get this idea that there's a bunch of creepy crawlies out here, everything from snakes to bobcats to coyotes, mountain lions. We're going to talk about all that, what you can do to avoid these attacks, and what animals out there that you really need to be looking out for. But before we even get started, I wanted to say, if you're really worried about it, I would say don't be, okay? Because I didn't realize how many people were really creeped out. Like they're telling me they don't want to move to Arizona because there's certain types of lizards here. They don't want to move to Arizona because their kids don't like snakes. They don't want to move to Arizona because they're worried about tarantulas. Tarantulas are those big spiders, right? So, in our group, I just recently posted this 36 minutes ago, Living in Arizona. I'll post a link below in the description. You can join us here. What Arizona wildlife do you look forward to the most when exploring Arizona? Pictures, comments below. Some people have already commented. Marty says alien life forms. He's probably talking about something like the Phoenix Lights. You know, Arizona does have that. They want to see, Martin wants to see javelinas. So we'll show you guys what javelinas look like, also known as pecaries. And then Tiffany Benson says nothing. She doesn't want anything to do with it. And then Marty just commented, he said, in all seriousness, the condors at the Grand Canyon are pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of different things to keep in mind. But in this group is where I really started to realize people don't want anything to do with some of these animals. And also on Instagram, which we have an Instagram called Live in Arizona. I'll also post a link below in the description. But you can see we've got everything from bobcats out here. Okay, those are wildcats, hence the name Arizona Wildcats. We've got cool creatures like this, these Harris hawks, or red-tailed hawks. And there's lots of different things that we've posted on here, but mostly wildlife, as in like, you know, the flowers and stuff. Thanks to, actually, this guy's got an awesome channel, Pachuco's Art. So we feature him, but he's got lots of wildlife on there. Here's a video of Gila Monster. People see that and they're like, oh my gosh. But look how slow it is. I mean, you would have to really be in a situation to get nabbed by one of those. I mean, but they will bite you. The odds of you seeing one of those are extremely rare, and they are very slow. And if you live in a city like Phoenix, right in the metropolitan area, you won't see majority of these animals at all. The only time you start seeing these types of animals is when you get into the foothills or out into the desert. So people who are buying property in the suburbs that are out in the foothills and in the desert, that's when you can potentially see most of these animals. But if you live in Chandler, in Tempe, in Peoria, in downtown Phoenix, you're not going to see wildlife down there. There's just no room for wildlife. So if you're in the city, you're not going to see wildlife. You might see an occasional, like, you know, anomaly situation pop up. But for the most part, guys, if you're living out in the country, then that's where you'll see the wildlife. Me personally, I want to move out to the country because I like seeing wildlife. I don't fear the wildlife. I am excited that wildlife still exists around me. But let's talk about this. So there are a series of different videos about coyote attack in Arizona. Just go on to Google and type it in, and you will get a whole bunch of videos. Everything from coyotes attacking pets, you know, seen on CCTV or the cameras, surveillance cameras people have in their front yard. And you can see everything, even coyotes becoming friends with other dogs. And then because they get so comfortable with people, they start coming up into the communities. And then Game and Fish had to kill it because these coyotes become too friendly because people feed them and whatnot. So don't feed the wildlife, because when you do, it makes them not fear humans, and then they become dangerous because then they start following people around expecting food. And then if they don't get the food, what do? They attack. They say, hey, why didn't you give me the food? That's kind of like the thing is, like, if you start feeding them, they start expecting it. And you can even see here, rabid coyote. We've had a little bit of that. And so even on News Flare, CCTV captures coyote attacking pet cat in Arizona. So, I mean, these are all over the place. You can see them. They're a dime a dozen, unfortunately. And so if you're wondering what animals really are to be on the lookout for, I could probably summarize it. If you're a human and you're really looking out for the animals that, you know, are the big threat, mountain lions. Although I don't think there's been a fatal cougar attack, a mountain lion attack in Arizona. I went on this list here. The places where the cougar attacks happen the most, where they're fatal, it looked like, so Oregon just recently had one. It doesn't mean it couldn't happen in Arizona, but you see a lot of New Mexico, California on here. California again. So California has the most, it looks like. Then you have some places like New Mexico and even Colorado had an attack. Those are the fatal ones. Now, this doesn't list the ones that were not fatal, but their mountain lions have attacked, okay? So mountain lions, the other one that you have to be on the lookout is bears. And bears are really the ones that, so where do you see bears? You see them up in the pines. And so if you look at this, you could see the list of bear attacks, black bear attacks. You could see there was an Arizona one in 2011 in Pine Top Lakeside up in the White Mountains. But most of the bear attacks happen in Alaska. And then you have brown bear. Brown bears aren't in in Arizona. Only the black bears in Arizona. So there was a fatal attack in a 61-year-old female, Hollingsworth, was attacked by a 250-pound black bear while walking her dog at a country club. Nearly a month later, after 11 surgeries, she died from massive brain hemorrhage, which doctors believe was a result of the attack. The bear was tracked, shot, and killed. Okay, see, so there has been other bear attacks in Arizona. So that's the one to watch out for. All of those of you who go out into the mountains, those are the ones when you're out there that exist, not to scare you, but, again, don't be feeding the bears. Put your food away in those containers because at night the bear can come up to your place. So it's real. Maybe that's why you would probably want to carry some sort of weapon on you, like a knife, or if you're a concealed carry person, that might be useful in that case. Sorry, it happens. And then you can see right here, here's a Arizona man attacked by a mountain lion, so a non-fatal attack, but you can see that's on realtree.com if you wanted to read up on that. And then here you go, a bobcat attacks a dog. So someone was walking their dog and then the bobcat came up. This you can catch on ABC 15, where a bobcat attacked a dog, and then when the man was trying to pull the bobcat off, the bobcat attacked his hand and held on, and the man was trying to shake his hand, and he got a lot of lacerations and had to get tested for rabies, okay? So as far as the wildlife species go that you'll kind of bump into, and we'll go over if they're threatening or, some things that you need to know about these. Coyotes, we've already talked about that. We've posted pictures in Living in Arizona's group where coyotes are seen standing on walls. And what they're looking for is the cats, the dogs, the small dogs. And growing up, they're I grew up in Cave Creek. Almost everyone that I knew had some sort of story to tell about a coyote taking a pet. I personally lost pets to, because you have pets and you let them outside and then you'll hear like a fight happen and then you'll be like, oh my gosh, where's my cat? So I have an indoor cat now. I don't let my cat outside. I have to, and these kind of can happen in suburbs, okay? They don't necessarily have, so the farther you are away from the mountains and the more city there is in between you and that mountain, the less likely you are to have a wildlife encounter with a coyote or some animal like that. But if you're close to a mountain, that is where the wildlife lives, especially if there's desert there. So coyotes, okay, I know I've talked about that earlier on in the video, but yeah, you have to watch your pets around coyotes. It's kind of a real thing. Javelinas, they're a little bit rabid pigs. I mean, people look at them, they say, oh, they're so cute, they're so cool, I want to see javelina, but at the same time, they're wild animals, and I mean, you don't know what kind of bacteria and disease they carry. But they're down there in the Catalina area, Lost Dutchman, which is out here in Superstition Mountains, North Phoenix. They're all around. You'll see these javelinas. They're, for the most part, they're pretty friendly, but you stay in your car. Don't try and track them down. I mean, they'll run from you for the most part. Deer, not really threatening, but deer will defend themselves if you push your luck with them. The black bear, we talked about that. Those are the ones that will get you. And they have gotten people, okay? So bears. Cotamundi, These are interesting animals. They're mostly in southern Arizona. They're very rare, but they are starting to expand in population again. So, Cotamundes, they're ringtail cats, kind of. Raccoons, no comment on raccoons. Skunks, you'll smell them. That's about what I'll say with them. Chuckawallas, you'll see chuckawalla. You go looking in between cracks. If you see like volcanic rocks, cracks, crevices down the mountains, go look in the cracks. You might see a chuckawalla. Red spotted toad. Okay, so there is this conversation about toads and monsoons and being dangerous if you touch toads. Just don't touch toads. Toads, I know people want to touch them, they want to pick them up, but some of them carry bacteria and disease, so it's worth mentioning that. And then we have peekaboo says the elk are dangerous because people hit them in their cars. So they'll be driving 70 miles an hour up in the high country at 12 o'clock at night, and elk will cross the street and bam, and an elk will wreak havoc on your car. Bad. So here's the frogs, the leopard frog. There's many frogs out here. I mean, I think the Grand Canyon frog is the one that you got to watch out for. These suckers right here, people are always wondering about scorpions. I don't have any scorpions in my house, but I know people who do. So, yes, they exist. Yes, they're not fun. Yes, you could call an exterminator to get rid of them. And yes, that will cost you $50 a month. But if you're really worried about scorpions, there you go. Cactus wren, nice bird, Arizona state bird. Here's another look at a javelina. Prairie dogs. There's lots of little prairie dogs out here on these trails. You'll just be driving around and you'll see a prairie dog. Again, here's a coyote. They look cute enough, they look innocent enough, but they can be rabid and have rabies and whatnot. Roadrunner on the prowl. This is not a dangerous animal, but they do take care of business on the desert surface. Here's a look at a Gila monster up close. It says you'll want to avoid getting close to those, but I mean, you can see they mean business, these Gila monsters. Look, this is on only in your state if you want this list, by the way. This is a look at one of these little spiders. An owl. Sometimes you hear, hoo hoo. It's at your house. The bluebird, not very dangerous at all. This little guy is not dangerous. This is a horned lizard. They call him the horny toad. These little white throat wood rat peeks out from the prickly pear. So rats, they bring disease. Here's a cottontail rabbit. These are really common. You'll catch these. I mean, you catch them, they could bite you and they could have disease, but they're not like actively aggressive at all. It's just if you catch them, they're like, oh, I've never been held before. So what are they going to do? They're going to use their mouth. So quails, they're not dangerous. These deers, if you get too close, maybe they'll give you the horns. Finally, this little rock squirrel wishes you a good day. So they have squirrels. But we already talked about that. Now, the final one that you got to watch out for, probably the worst one, is the snake bites. Rattlesnake bites. These are on the rise. You can see snake bites on the rise as according to Fox 10. So this is a big thing. Temperatures continue to climb. That's when snakes come out. They like the hot weather. When it's cold, snakes are not on the prowl. But there has been a lot of snake bites. And recently, people getting close. I think there was a total of 20 of them? I don't know the exact number, but about 20 different people recently this year had been bitten by rattlesnakes. So this is the most common threat that you're going to have. This is going to be out in the forest or in the desert, maybe even in the forest. You'll be walking and then all of a sudden you'll see like a stick. You'll be like, how did that stick get there? Whoa, that's a snake. Okay, does it have rattlers? Okay, it's a rattlesnake. What do you do when you get a rattlesnake and it's 12 o'clock at night? Do you just leave it there or do you call Game and Fish? I mean, you'd probably call Game and Fish, but at 12 o'clock at night, what can you do about it? Back in the old days, someone would go out there with the shovel and say, okay, this is a threat, so they take it out. I don't think you can kill rattlesnakes like that anymore. But that's what they used to do in the old days. How do I know? Because if you're an old timer in Arizona, you know that's what they used to do. Is they used to go get a shovel and say, can't do that anymore. PETA's very aggressive. PETA is extremely aggressive. Don't believe the myth that all rattlesnakes will warn you by rattling. Yeah, so people, you can get this on ArizonaLeisure.com. They think that, oh, well, if the rattlesnake's only mad if he's shaking his tail. Well, if you're walking through a bush and you step on that rattlesnake, what's his first reaction? Whoop, boom. So stay on the trails. If you know, when it's hot out, there's going to be rattlers out there. They're going to be out there baking on that dirt, gravel. So rattlesnakes like to do that. So in summary, will Arizona animals attack? Yes. Is it likely that you will be attacked? Very small chance. We're talking, I don't know, you probably have a higher likelihood of getting struck by lightning than you do getting attacked by a wild animal in Arizona. My best advice to avoid wild animals is if you see a wild animal, don't provoke it. That's it. Do you have to be scared of wild animals in Arizona? No. There's more dangerous states out there to live, like Alaska and probably California, for wild animals. And I mean, it's like saying, getting in the ocean, are you going to get attacked by a shark or some thing under the water that you can't see? You know, I mean, every place is going to have that. Cape Cod has sharks now. And so just wanted to make this video because a lot of people are really concerned about this. And I'm going to say, don't be scared. Probably the only thing to really be on the lookout for when you're out in the trails, in the desert, is the snakes, in particular rattlesnakes. So wear tall hiking boots and long pants. Okay, if you're wearing shorts and short shoes, you know, that's because the snake is at ground level. It can jump up. But the likelihood of you getting bitten by a snake is extremely rare. Even with the amount of people that go out, most people never even see snakes. And if they do, they have enough sense to not let it happen. But 20 people, I mean, that's kind of a lot. So anyways, guys, if you're new to this channel, subscribe. Follow us on our other social media. Okay? Links below. And we'll see you guys next time.